Hello and welcome to a dusky Barcelona where the first day of Formula One pre-season testing in 2020 is in the books. I'm Autosport's Grand Prix Editor, Alex Kalinauckas, and with me, Jon Noble, F1 Editor at motorsport.com, and Luke Smith, Autosport's Formula One reporter. So, the headline takeaways from today: Mercedes quickest and set the most laps. Now, are we surprised by that? What do we think?
I think you're never surprised when Mercedes are quicker. So you don't win 6 back-to-back, World Championship doubles out being the best out there. The cars are an evolution, a step over last year. You never expect them to be anywhere other than at the front. I think what's more interesting is the switch you've seen with Ferrari. Last year, Ferrari hit the ground running and testing, quickest all the time, looked comfortable. Today, they've not appeared as confident. Straight on speeds look a little bit down. Car not as on it as it was last year. So maybe that's a little bit of a change dynamic there, but it's only day one of testing, of course.
Indeed, an interesting turnaround from last year, and we know how that turned out ultimately with Mercedes taking 2 more championships. Now, in the morning, Valtteri Bottas topped the times from his first runs in the W11 before Lewis Hamilton, the reigning world champion, took over, added nearly 100 more laps by himself and bettered the benchmark time. So that's Mercedes covered off at the front. Behind them came Racing Point with the new car that they revealed this morning, which might look a little bit familiar because it's pretty damn close to what Mercedes produced last year. What do we make of that?
I think this shows sort of the route that Racing Point is going down. They're looking for close ties with Mercedes. They said that there's a lot of inspiration has been taken from that design that was so successful for Mercedes last year. So it's a sensible move, I think, to sort of go with that in the final year of this regulation cycle as well. I think there's a lot they can gain from that. Whether the other teams up and down the pit lane are too pleased about that, I think we'll hear in the coming days.
And encouraging for their recent investment over recent years, would you say, John?
Yeah, I think it's a big statement of intent by them. It's been a team that's always punched above its weight. It's had to fight against budgets and done a sensational job. They suffered in 2018, nearly went bankrupt, nearly finished, but Lawrence Stroll came in. They now got the money to do things, and I think it says a lot that they've deliberately said, right, we want to make a big step. We're going to go down the Mercedes concept and route. We know that works. We'll understand it. We'll try this for 1 year. I think it's quite exciting to get a team like this in the mix potentially.
Absolutely, and not only is it a fast-looking car because it looks like the W10, Sergio Perez also set the day's second fastest time in terms of teams for Racing Point. So, a good start for that squad. Now, another team that's very happy, Williams, one that was very unhappy last year with its uncompetitive car, propping up the rear of the field. But straight away from the off, having missed the first 2 days of testing last year, George Russell led the field out of the pits. He came out to the press conference at lunchtime, positively bouncing, wasn't he, John?
Oh, absolutely. It was a tough year for him last year. I know people said he did a fantastic job in difficult circumstances, but these guys aren't in Formula 1 to be at the back. They want to be pushing on, and you could sense today, there was a bounce in him. He was winding Kimi up. He was winding the journalists up. Really happy, and I think really important that they got first out of the pits this morning. Good for the team. It's been through the mill. So they've got that going, but I think George also there's a reality there that there's no World Championship points on offer today. It's a start. They've got a car. It's a platform to build on. I think and quite good for Formula One to see Williams at least potentially in the mix.
Oh, that historic name doing well would be brilliant. His teammate Nicholas Latifi took over in the afternoon. A good, encouraging start for a rookie.
Yeah, definitely. Again, just about getting those laps under your belt and just to, I think, settle any early nerves. That's what George Russell struggled with last year, is that he came into his first season in F1 and didn't drive the car for the first 2.5 days that he should have been. So for Latifi, to hit the ground running today, got a good number of laps under his belt in the afternoon. I think a really positive start for the team all round.
Now, John, you mentioned Ferrari earlier. They were in and out of the garage, particularly in the afternoon session. There were large chunks of time when Charles Leclerc was spent sat around waiting, and the team looked like they were doing various bits of work on the left-hand side of the car. As we record, we haven't heard from Charles, so we're going to go up and listen to his media session later on. But perhaps we're thinking that Ferrari might have had a little bit of fuel on board, so they can't be too disappointed. Obviously, it's the first day, so these times are fairly meaningless at the moment, but very interesting to hear them say, Sebastian Vettel was speaking ahead of the season, that look, we got a bit overexcited going to Melbourne last year, so we're not going to do that this year. Might be something they'll be doing today?
I think also it's understanding kind of the aero, where the aero balance is in this car. I mean, last year they went for high efficiency, great straight line speed performance, lost out in the corners, and this track in particular, despite what happened in pre-season testing, this track in particular for the Grand Prix was a difficult one for them. They've chased more downforce this year. They think they need more performance in the corners to match Red Bull and match Mercedes. So what we saw today may just be the result of that, them playing around with the downforce level, trying to work out where they need to be. Because you need to, it's no good being super quick on the straights if you can't match them in the corners. So maybe they realise that they're going to have to sacrifice a bit of their straight line speed if they're going to match them in the turny stuff.
Absolutely. And now Charles Leclerc wasn't actually supposed to drive the car from the off this morning. It was supposed to be Sebastian Vettel, but Ferrari reported that he not called in sick because he was certainly here at the track, but felt a bit unwell, so we didn't want to take the start there. We saw a little bit on the screens in the media centre. Didn't look terribly well. Perhaps he'd been up all night.
Oh yeah, maybe. We don't know. But yeah, he came in for the driver's photo that they did on the main straight this morning, which was good. But yeah, otherwise then Vettel swiftly left the circuit, and he'll be back tomorrow afternoon, so hopefully get a good night's sleep and be back in the car tomorrow.
What did you make of them all gathered on the pit straight? I know you were down in the pit lane when that was happening. Was it an impressive sight?
I think it was quite cool. It's nice to sort of get those sort of all the drivers together, I guess even just for those sort of promo shots and things like that. A few of them taking it a little bit more seriously than others. Daniel Ricciardo was pulling some funny faces. He was told, "You've got to look really tough in this shot," and he was sticking his tongue out and shouting a few lewd words that we can't repeat on here. But yeah, it was good to see, I think, everyone together, a real sort of back-to-school feel today, which was nice.
Absolutely. Now, touching on the final of the big three teams, Red Bull, probably had the most dramatic moments of the day when Max Verstappen spun twice, entering the final corners of the lap there. John, you went to his media session. What was his explanation for those issues?
Well, the explanation was simply him trying to find the limits. He said once he touched the gravel on the outside, which sent him off, and the other time he hooked a curb. Usually when these things happen, sometimes if a driver spins in the same corner, you think, oh, must be a massive problem in slow speed or high speed, but he says none of the sort. Max was actually quite bullish. These TV scrums can be quite difficult because the same question gets thrown at drivers 4 or 5 times. Sometimes they can roll off the same answers, but when he came around to our corner, he was quite optimistic. He said the car's fast everywhere, and it's even better on the reliability front. So I think that's as good as you get today from Max. That they've got what they need to move forward from here.
Indeed, and interesting you mentioned reliability there. No red flag stoppages, so visibly at least all the cars look pretty reliable. Luke, is that just the natural result of the fact that these V6 turbo regulations are fairly mature now when you think about it?
Yeah, we're into year 8, I think it is, of these regulations. So it's I think that is just part of it, that the teams, they come with a new car. There's no sort of finding a new engine or dealing with any of that they have to deal with. But still, to have a day with no red flags whatsoever, no mistakes, it's incredible. Carlos Sainz, he did the most laps of any driver, 161, and he said that they basically ran out of tyres, that he could have done even more laps, and by the end of the day they were just doing sort of pit stop practice and sort of the ancillary things on the side. So it's I think a real statement of sort of where these regulations are, and I think the cut from 8 to 6 days of testing, I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue this year.
Excellent. Right, well, as you can probably see over our shoulders, we're fast losing the light here in Barcelona, so we'll end this first video here. We are going to be doing videos throughout all 3 days of the first test. Do make sure you like and subscribe to all Autosport and Motorsport.com social media channels, as well as on YouTube. Thanks very much for watching.